Nearly 2 miles down this single-lane road is the Florida Institute of Neurologic Rehabilitation. FINR, as it's commonly known, specializes in brain injury rehabilitation and support living services. It is the second largest employer in Hardee County, roughly 2 hours southwest of Orlando.
Can I sit here?
FINR is where Samantha Valentine placed her son Jaden late last year.
That's my best friend. I tell him everything. Really. He's a beautiful person when you get to know him.
Jaden, who is autistic and nonverbal, occasionally needs to be restrained due to aggressive behavior. He also has a history of harming himself.
FINR was the only place that accepted him for his current level of behavior.
To give Jaden a chance to adjust, Samantha says she waited 2 weeks before visiting him.
When I walked in, I was really horrified. My son had marks on him, he had bruises, his elbows were scraped, none of his clothes had been washed.
Several weeks later, during another visit,
the staff member had my son lying down on the bed in a prone position, so he was face down with his arms back and was pushing his back into the bed. He could have suffocated my son.
According to the Professional Crisis Management Association, when performed properly, a prone restraint is not dangerous. But if done wrong, a person could suffocate. Fearing for her son's safety, Samantha removed Jaden from the facility and brought him home.
There is no room for error. People's lives are at stake.
We drove to FINR to speak with FINR CEO Ray Stitchett. He declined to answer our questions and asked us to leave. DCF declined to comment on Jaden's case because of confidentiality, but did send us a list of complaints involving FINR for the past 21 years. Out of 1,163 incidents, caseworkers verified 90 complaints. Searching through court records, we found 4 lawsuits against FINR for wrongful death, negligence, and suggestion of death. All 4 lawsuits were settled. The family of Michael Lear sued for wrongful death following the Marine's death in 1998. We spoke with his mother, Una Marshall, by phone from her home in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
They killed my son. My son was in rehab, and he went to the bathroom, and they wanted to look in his luggage, and they had a fight with him, and they tried to say that he fell on himself, but the lady that was working with him said that they killed him.
A civil jury awarded Michael's parents $5 million. The medical examiner's report states the cause of death as positional asphyxia due to restraint. Manner of death, homicide. Michael's attorney told us the state didn't file criminal charges against FINR because the police had already closed the case.
I'm still angry at the facility, and I won't go to Florida anymore because I went down there every month for a long time.
In 2012, Allstate Insurance sued FINR for $7.6 million for insurance fraud. The lawsuit claimed, quote, rather than providing the promised rehabilitative care, FINR did nothing more than warehouse patients with no meaningful treatment or clinical progress. That lawsuit was settled in 2014. The court did not make the settlement public. While DCF investigates complaints about FINR, Florida's Agency for Healthcare Administration is responsible for licensing and inspecting the facility. Since January 2017, there have been 14 complaints resulting in investigation. 11 of those complaints had substantiated findings. An AHCA report from 2018 found the facility failed to have, quote, sufficient staff with knowledge of the client's care needs, and staff were ignoring clients. A 2019 report found a client harmed themselves after the facility failed to implement continuous levels of supervision.
Do you feel like the state of Florida and the agency that oversees FINR, have they failed your son in your eyes?
Yes, they have.
We drove the 4 hours here to Tallahassee to see if we could speak with someone at the Agency for Healthcare Administration. We were told nobody would be doing an interview. A spokesman emailed us a statement reading in part, quote, we frequently monitor facilities in accordance with Florida law. FINR was allowed the opportunity to correct the regulatory violations you cited. All deficiencies were corrected in a timely manner. Not good enough, says Samantha Valentine. Since coming home, she says Jaden hasn't been the same.
This should not happen. There's no reason for this to happen. This is just pure negligence.